doen. Hy het sy wonde verbind en hom gehelp. Maar wat vir my opvallend in die teks is dat die Bybel sê die man was op reis, wat beteken hy het ver gereis. En hy het sonder om te weet dat hy op iemand gaan afkom wat beseer of gewond is, het hy in sy reistas het hy olie en wyn gepak. Wat vir my sê, hy het sy tasse vir sy reis, net soos ons almal op 'n reis is, het hy sy tas gepak, nie net vir homself nie, maar hy het sy tas so gepak, dat indien dit sou wees, dat ek iemand op hierdie reis raak gaan loop, wat in nood is, wat seer is, wat gewond is, dat ek so 'n persoon sal kan help. So die reis wat ons elkeen op is nie net oor onsself nie, maar dit gaan oor die mense vir wie ons langs ons reispad raakloop. Het ons in ons reistas gepak dit om ander te help. Maar my vraag wat ek eintlik vir ons vandag wil vra is, watter soort mens is ek? Watter soort mens is ek? As ons nou kyk na die rowe wat beroof het, wat mense seer gemaak het, dat mense ingedien het, dan kyk ons na die leviet en die priester, wat 'n titel het en wat gesiene is in die gemeenskap, maar wat sien wat fout is en sien mense kry swaar, maar besluit om verby te loop en weg te kyk. Of is ons daai Samaritane, wat maak nie saak wie dit is wat ons op ons pad raakloop nie. Dalk praat die persoon nie dieselfde taal as ons nie. Miskien is die persoon nie dieselfde kleur as ons nie. Miskien is die persoon nie dieselfde nasionaliteit as ons nie. Maar as ons 'n persoon raakloop op ons pad, is ons 'n omgee mens. Ons kan, hoe ek sê altyd, dat die kerke leer mense vandag om geestelik te wees. Maar ons leer die mense om mens te wees. Want wanneer ons daar buite met mense in aanraking kom, is dit 'n mens met gevoelens, wat seer kry, wat honger is en wat dood is. So ek wil 'n challenge vir ons elkeen hier binne. Is ons 'n omgee mens? En ek gaan vra dat, sit op jou status vandag, verklaar dit in die wêreld, verklaar dit in die atmosfeer, sit dit op jou WhatsApp status, Facebook status, ek is 'n omgee mens. Kom ons sluit ons oë. Almagtige God en Hemelse Vader, Here, baie dankie vir hierdie voorreg wat ons vanmôre het om hier as raad van Mossel Municipality bymekaar te kan kom. Here, ek wil bid dat U hierdie raadslede sal bind met 'n band van eenheid. Want U woord verklaar, where there is unity, you command your blessing. Here, ek wil bid vir goddelike wysheid. Here, ek wil bid dat elke besluit, elke bespreking wat geneem sal word, dat dit U goedkeuring sal wegdra. Here, ek wil spesiaal bid vir die stadsvader en moeder van Mosselbaai. Here, vou hulle toe met U liefde, met U bloed, Here. Here, ek sny af elke plan van die vyand in die naam van Jesus. Here, ek bid dat U hulle huisgesin sal seën. Here, so ook elke raadslid wat vandag in hierdie lokaal is, Here. Ons weet nie watter omstandighede hulle vanoggend gekom het nie, Here, maar ek verklaar in die naam van Jesus dat U in daardie omstandighede sal instap met U krag, Here, en dat U hulle sal omvou in die naam van Jesus. Wees verder met die vergadering. Here, laat U Heilige Gees vertoef in die vergadering. En ek vra dit alles in die naam van Jesus. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Yeso, for the Binding Council this morning of why we are here, and some introspection that we all need to do from time to time. We really did visit this morning, and thank you for your willingness to attend and coming. I would also like to wish you a blessed day further, and you are excused. Thank you very much, Pastor. We now then wait for the Executive Deputy Mayor to take his seat and we will then proceed. Thank you very much. Our attendance register is circulating. Kindly please ensure that everybody will sign. We are then at Roman 3 on our agenda before I deal with the application of leave of absence. Executive Mayor, Executive Deputy Mayor, all members of council, the municipal manager, all our directors present, as well as our acting directors, all our support staff, the legal department. A special welcome to Roniel, our sign language interpreter, and also Rico, who's our council interpreter, to the members in the public and those who are joining us online. Welcome to the council meeting for April, and wish that we will positively this morning engage. We have applications for leave of absence from Elder Lady Reuters. She had an operation just during the course of the week, and she will be off to recover for a few days. And then also Director Finter, Municipal Manager, I can see it. And we have Mr. Lyndon Schweyer, who's acting and present. The council work is attending to an urgent matter, and he will join the council meeting as soon as he is done with his other obligations. So it's not a leave of absence. He's just apologizing for being late, and then we will join us very shortly. Is there any other councillor who is not here? I see an empty chair for Councillor Baron. Do we have apology for Councillor Baron? Now, not received. Yes, Councillor.
Just up to the IT, there's something wrong with the computer.
Okay. Good, so we're noting that Councillor Baron will join shortly. He's not absent, he does have technical challenges. We then proceed to Roman 4 on our agenda. The disclosure of interest in terms of Schedule 1, code of conduct for councillors in terms of the local government municipal system act. Any councillor who wishes to disclose an interest with reference to the items on our agenda this morning, see the light of Councillor Mark Furness.
Madam Speaker, if you will excuse me, I have the 85.
Thank you very much. When you get to the item, you could just indicate as such. Now, other councillor. Good. Thank you. We then move to Roman 5 on the agenda. The disclosure of benefits in terms of Schedule 2, Section 5, Code of Conduct for officials of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act, Municipal Managers. Is there any official who needs to disclose?
Nothing, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. We then at Roman 6 of our agenda, the confirmation and signing of our previous council minutes. The minutes of the open council meeting held on Wednesday, the 29th of March, 2023, folio numbers 3198 to 419. Can I please have a proposal?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Do you have a second for Councillor Delamain?
Madam Speaker, yes, you do. Councillor Van Dijk.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Is there any councillor who wishes to comment on the minutes of that meeting? I see the light of Councillor Gous. No other light. Councillor Gous, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, just a correction on the one item regarding funding to the Garden Film Commission. I was accurately captured except for the fact that I asked that funding should be given on condition that it's been viewed judiciously. I commented specifically about the previous advert that money was used for, that objectified women, and I felt that they could really be a little bit more creative in their presentation with Mossel Bay. There's much that can be marketed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gous. We notice such and will correct accordingly. See the light of Councillor Porter. You may proceed, Councillor.
Thank you, Speaker. I think it's when I get to that page 365. It's correct when we're dealing with the issue of balance agreement.
365. With 1 second. Page E51, is E51.
Please,
Okay, E51, yes, Councillor, you may proceed.
I just want to confirm in terms of the minutes where Vice Reporter, Council Reporter is reflected, that is what it purports to be a true reflection of council. There's two citations, one dealing with the question that I posed, on which the MM and the speaker have responded to.
Councillor Porter, if I am correct, it is recorded that Councillor Porter wanted to know the Mossel Municipality has any other SLAs regarding the district municipality. The MM informed the speaker that he do not have an answer now, and the speaker, Alder Lady Fortuyn, made a ruling that Councillor Porter be provided with the information via email.
And there is no speaker for the record. Just a note, speaker, that I'm still awaiting that information.
Thank you. It is indeed a true reflection of what was said in the meeting. Councillor Porter, I have received your communication and I've responded also accordingly that I'm attending to the matter. So yes, Municipal Manager, do you wish to respond?
Yes, Speaker.
You may.
I don't know what I'm aware. I was copied by Councillor Van Dijk who actually sent the information to Councillor Porter received it because we had issues during the week where emails that were sent 3 days ago never landed up in the inbox. There was a system error. But I'm aware that Councillor Van Dijk can attest to that.
I saw that communication. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Councillor Porter.
Yeah, the response that I've got is that I need to now apply to a certain rule 69 something. My view on that is that, as Speaker have just alluded, that a ruling has been made to council, that the information has been made available to me on email. I'm not sure why I need to go, while council has already had a ruling on it, I now need to apply a specific rule to get very simple information. Can Speaker please assist in that regard? It was very frustrating.
Thank you, Councillor Porter. I indicated that I am attending to the matter and I responded to you via email.
Thank you.
Good. We are then on the minutes of the special council meeting held on Thursday, 30th March 2023, folio numbers 4198 to 430. Now can I have a proposal that
Madam Speaker, proposing Councillor Van Dijk.
Thank you, Councillor Van Dijk. Do you have a seconder for Councillor Van Dijk?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll second it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Is there any councillor wishes to ask any questions from the minutes? None. Thank you. We then proceed to Roman 7 of our agenda, cognizance of the Executive Mayor and Deputy Executive Mayor resolutions in terms of delegated authority as provided for in section 591A of the Act on Local Government, Municipal Systems 32 of 2000. Item number FC 16 of 2023 to FC 21 of 2023. Item numbers G13 of 2023 to G20 2023. Item number CS 15 of 2023 to item CS 23 of 2023. Item numbers PE 33 to PE 41 of 2023. Item numbers T9 to T14 of 2023. Items CG11 to CG19 of 2023. Items E64 and then UB17 to UB21 of 2023. Can I kindly have a proposal for council to take cognizance?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Can I please have a seconder for Councillor Delamain?
Councillor Van Dijk, seconding.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Any councillor wishes to ask anything on these items? No, we then proceed. I thank you very much. We are then at home 8 of our agenda, cognizance of the municipal manager resolutions in terms of delegated authority as per Council Resolution E127 of 2008 as provided for Section 591A of the Act on Local Government Municipal Systems 32 of 2000. Kindly have a proposal in this regard.
Madam Speaker, Councillor van Dijk will propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor van Dijk. Can I have a seconder for Councillor van Dijk, please?
Madam Speaker, I will second it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delaman. Is there any councillor who wishes to ask anything? I know that Councillor Baron has joined. Please record as such. Welcome, Councillor Baron. No questions on Roman 8. I thank you. We are then at the communications of the executive mayor, and I now hand over to the mayor to address council. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Madam Speaker, colleagues, everybody who's listening, thank you very much for the opportunity. Load shedding continues to loom large over Mossel Bay. I think we're all quite worried about what's going to happen during the winter months. So at this stage, there's no immediate solution, but I'm happy to announce that Mossel Municipality that we're progressing towards achieving energy sustainability. It's not going to be in the near future, but we are hopeful and we remain hopeful. The medium-term projects include the installation of mini grids at several of the critical municipal infrastructure, such as water and wastewater plants, funded from the 23-24 and 24-25 capital programs. These are hybrid PV solar systems with battery storage, and we will go out on tender as part of the budget that's currently out for comment. And then potential sites under consideration for these hybrid PV solar systems with battery storage include Hartenbos Regional Wastewater Treatment Works, where approximately 14 hectares of municipal land is available for a solar farm. The Midbrock Wastewater Treatment Works with approximately 5 hectares, the Kleinbrock Water Treatment Works, where 1 hectare of portion is available, and then the Great Rock substation site on the 199, which is also around about 1 hectare. In the long term, and to enable the municipality to obtain 30 megawatt of electricity from independent power producers or IPPs, request for proposal not limited to solar energy is being prepared. The agreement will also assist with the electrification of energy to other areas, and the invitation to tender was published on last Friday, 21 April. In the Mossel Bay advertiser, you can visit them at www.mosselbay.gov.za as well on our website. So it's also on our website available, and it was advertised in the Mossel Bay advertiser. I know that there was some issues with the site over the weekend, but I can see that has been cleared. Then, in terms of initiatives to preserve and protect our iconic heritage, on Tuesday, 11 April, myself, Councillor Nikki Levy, Delaman van Dijk, Director Carl Venter, MN, and our municipal legal team, Mr. Doustein, Mr. Lange van den Berg, and representatives of Cape Nature held an exploratory discussion about the best way to liaise with environmental authorities to best preserve and protect our environment. Cape Nature is tasked with and involved in nature conservation with the preservation of biodiversity and the provision of facilities for education, research, and training. They also liaise closely with existing institutions that promote conservation and environmental education. Considering the fundamental principles of the growth strategy, the Civil Committee and I believe in the whole of society approach based on partnerships built on trust, respect, and understanding. These partnerships serve as a stimulus to promote our town and the municipality, and subsequently also our pristine nature, and to grow the economy. They provide more jobs. In a further initiative to support our environment and especially respective conservancies in the greater Mossel Bay, the same councillors and their team took the first steps to establish an overarching forum to foster closer cooperation between the municipality and environmental conservation authorities. Mossel Bay is also labelled as a gateway to the garden route and is known for unique adrenaline experiences within the framework of our pristine and intact nature that that must be preserved and protected. Within healthy environment conservation, various experiences such as beach walks and activities such as hiking, fishing, and whale watching already take place. As mayor, I am already working to master more often our unique and breathtaking walks with the community. And yeah, in October last year, 2022, we did the St. Blaise Trail where the community came and we had a mile hike with about 100 residents of Mossel residents who walked with us. April, along with the JTC, about 40 other people. We did the shipwreck route to England. We started quite early for a Saturday morning. It was 6:30. So I actually thought that less people were in my country for the 40 residents and the Junior Town Council attended. It was quite a cool, chilly morning, and one of the elderly ladies who also moved with us, Peter, was 86 years old. So then we're also going to continue. We will do the Oyster Catcher Trail in July, and then in August we will have the public protector, the previous former public protector, Professor Tuli Marumsela with us, and then we will walk again on the St. Blaise Trail. And then for December, we are looking at holding this Border Dance Trail. And yeah, I want to just invite all councillors to also join the community. It's important that we showcase our environment, that we create that awareness. Thank you, Madam Speaker. That's from my side.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor, for your communications. I'm intrigued by the hikes, and I will definitely take you up on that invitation. It's important. Some fresh air and some good walk. And just do you a lot of good. This week, I visited elderly regulators in hospital with councillor, with Alderman Poison. And I also have been reminded, I said, please switch off your phone and stay in bed, because we do need to keep the balance and take care of ourselves, Councillor Camper. So as hy 'n bietjie wil raadslid Camper, dit is reg. Klim in die kar en ry so hier alas die kus, dis altyd goed. Ja, dit is so. Geld vir petrol en natuurlik seker hoe my sien. Ja. Maar vir net baie dankie ons die raad sal by die volgende geleentheid definitief almal aan boord hier as span. En dan ook al die ander belangrike inligting wat u vanoggend met ons gedeel het met betrekking tot ons planne. Load shedding. Dankie dat u aanstuur is van die saak om seker te maak dat ons op die nodige diens ontvang. Ek sien die lig van die raadslid van Roy. And yes, there's no questions or debates after the mayor has spoken. But in good faith this morning, I'll allow Councillor Van Rooyen to comment.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Speaker, for Afrikaans people, it's international mother tongue today, so I will speak my mother tongue.
Please try your welcome.
My second mother tongue, I will not speak
Sorry.
so I will speak Afrikaans. Dear jou, Madam Speaker, Mayor, dankie vir jou. Burgemeester, dankie vir jou terugvoer. Jy geraak aan load shedding. En is ook aan die load shedding wat ons opseer het. Ek sal graag wil hê, Madam Speaker, dat Mossel se raad maybe deur die burgemeester permanente punt in sy terugvoer het. Wanneer ons praat oor load shedding wat nou lank gaan terugkom, wat eintlik saamgaan met misdaad. En ek het gister met my hart gesmeld toe mense van my vertel hoe dit gaan in Asla. Ek dink mense wat in Asla bly kan seker met my saamstem. Sodra die krag afgaan dan almal het hulle trale en toegesluit. Dan sit in 'n war zone. Dan hoor hulle hoe skree die mense, hoe hulle geroep. En dit geef my hart. Ons het toch veiligheidskomitee en ons sal regtig iets daar moet doen. Ons kan nie toe kry nie. Thank you, Speaker.
Baie dankie, Raadslid van Ron, Executive Mayor, Councillor van Ron, requesting a standing point. I think to date, you have always in your communication to council responded. I'm not sure if you wish to respond to Councillor van Ron, but I'll definitely allow you, Mayor, to quickly respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Yeah, most definitely, we also share the concerns. We did discuss looking at lights, Mossel lights for those areas. I know that's one of the first concerns that the manager also raised at various times. We are under tremendous constraints within the budget in terms of the budget, but hopefully we will be able to roll that out. But I think it's a valid point. It is something that everybody's concerned about, Madam Speaker. Yes, so basically for the past few months, I did touch on it every time, but I think it remains the top priority for us also. It makes sense to give feedback on that on a monthly basis.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. We will then have the Mayor provide feedback to Council monthly. Yes, Executive Mayor.
Madam Speaker, just to reiterate the importance, we have weekly discussions on Fridays. So if some of the councillors want to attend, some weeks where there's nothing happening, like just before when the tender went out, we were waiting for the legal process for them to scrutinize and so forth. Then we didn't have for one Friday we didn't have, and this Friday we won't have a meeting, but it's a standing item for every Friday. And if you're interested, you're more than welcome to join.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. I think I also want to take this opportunity to thank Director Naidu and his team. You can all see Director Naidu has some added gray hair there in between. That's an enlightenment, I'm just kidding, councillors. But I really do wish to extend our thanks, Director Naidu, doing a brilliant job. It's difficult times across the country, and Mossel being one of the leading municipalities in town, the expectations are high. Councillor Baron was correct in saying that it's just a war and crime zone when it's load shedding, and our electricity poles are being vandalized. People are stealing the copper, and councillors are sending in the complaints by the hour, because I also see it on the executive group coming through, and it is just very heartwarming to see, one, how quick the directorate respond. They're very efficient. It's difficult, municipal manager. I know the load is very heavy on Director Naidu, in particular during this time. So really this morning, just want to add to say, councillors, thanks to Director Naidu in particular for assisting council with our load shedding crisis. Of course, to the whole of the team, the administration team, who's also doing a great job, municipal manager. Raadslid Kamfer, u vir my 'n vraag gee, sien nie lekker.
Yes, ek het 'n vraag vir die speaker, baie dankie. Meneer Raadslid. Speaker, ek wil net hoor man, op 'n tyd is daar gepraat dat ons gaan dis daai homas in 'n hond kry. Dat ons gaan die help met crime. Ek wil net hoor hoe fair is dit. Sal dit ook nie help om 'n oplossing te kry vir die Asla omgewing? Veral wanneer die krag omdat die polisie is mos nog baie min aan personeel. Dat hy homa of bene of wat ook al met die honde, dat hulle van tyd tot tyd net wanneer die krag afgaan, dat dit 'n rol kan speel om as 'n afskrikmiddel dan dat mense dan bietjie net kan stop. Want ek het ook al gehoor mense sê dit gaat rof in Asla met die speaker.
Baie dankie, Raadslid. Op die vraag, dit is 'n veiligheidsaspek. Die munisipale bestuurder dat by die veiligheidskomitee resorteer. Ek gaan net vir u vra om vinnig te reageer. Dit is nie op die agenda nie, dit is nog baie toegewend en so. Want ons praat ons nou oor 'n belangrike aspek. Maar dit is heeltemal die operasie van die dag en wat hy dit wat aan die gang is iets op vinnig net gemaak se kan van die hoogte kan gaan.
Speaker, dankie. Ek dink die veiligheidskwessie, die energieveiligheid kan met baie toewyding weer wat padpunte te kan weer van die Gomo en jou hond gaan nie klein probleem oplos in 'n groot area. Ek kom hier nou het ook praat speaker en soos die direkteur moet weer nou die alles wat vermoë moet probeer en dis wel maar slegter met nou daar aan die werk te doen. En ek is seker het tot nou toe nog nie binne sektor met klein speaker ons sal die open werk na te kyk hoe ons uitvoer kan laat werk dat die area verlig is. Die area verlig is in die polisie en almal sien wat sy meen.
Dankie, munisipale bestuurder. Miskien kan ons by die volgende komitee vergaderings van my raadsekamp net so 'n inligtingssessie laat ons die voorsitter van raadse van tyd is wat baie maar die prakties dryf verskeie goede wat aan die gang is net so toelichting gee op die raadsekamp. Dit is my woording is nie maklik. Dat ons dan tyd maak vir daardie gesprek as voorsitter van veiligheid. Burgemeester Sini Lucky.
So thank you for your remarks. In terms of the discussion, I slipped. I had to congratulate Councillor Van Dijk. We had a 3-day working session with a safety group, Western Cape safety group, with all the MMCs, the MMCs, and with IPSA. Is that the right name? I'm not that acquainted with all the terms and so forth, but they were the president of them were here and so forth. That's a safety body for local government, and Councillor Van Dijk has been elected as the chairperson of that. So congratulations from us side.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations, Councillor Van Dijk. Have challenges with the safety, but I'm fully aware that you do progress reports, that you work in the movement. I do appreciate that, and I think it would be important council just at the next committee meeting, maybe we can briefly just take some time and give some in-depth information in terms of what's happening behind the scenes and the plans in order to ensure that our communities, all our areas, are safe, in particular during notion hours. Also to the acting director, Mr. Williamson, thank you to yourself for the work that you and your team are doing. We really do appreciate that. Councillors, we then had the communications of the speaker. This morning, just 2 things from my side. We have sent you formal communication with reference to the process of absence. I have had the administration, particular corporate service, and then our council support office was very strict. That's also just an enlightened note. Just reminding me that it has now become known that you're receiving SMS messages either 5 minutes before meeting. And this has now been brought to my attention. So just a kind reminder that we do have the form. You can send a notice to the work and inform myself. That's very good. But just so that we have it on record, otherwise the administration will note you as absent. And then you would see 3 or 6 times absent next to your name, Councillor Buddha. And then the work will probably come and say, but we now have a problem in terms of the older rules, and we all know what the consequences for that is. But in my opinion, so colleagues, just again, as councillors, if we can follow the process. I see our men this morning looking very classy. I want to comment you. I see the suits, you Councillor Buddha, with your red tie, Councillor Machistini, Councillor Tabu, is that a pink color? It's got a pink color. No, I'm not you Councillor Delamay matching outfit there. At the back, Councillor Klassen, oh, very smart. On that note, councillors, the council support office is busy with looking into some attire for for the council a unified clothing item, which is the body warmer. Body warmer. We do have samples at the now, so I just want to invite you. At the back, you can see the color there. It's black. It's black, Councillor Buddha. So it will have our logo and then our council name. And if you are interested, and this is really something that we would want all our councillors to have, then we kindly invite you to please visit the office of Konya afterwards, or anytime we need to have an opportunity. We are going to put, yes, Councillor Kuntu, there's a price that we need to pay. Very, very bulk. It's not expensive, but this is something that we're busy now with, and I would really like to request councillors to please let's join in this action as a team, so that we can also display our unity to the community through our attire. That's all from my side in terms of communications. I have the list in front of me of all the councillors who have celebrated their birthdays, and we would like to wish them well. Councillor Veta, in his absence, celebrated on the 2nd of April. Councillor Kamper with his birthday on the 18th of April. Councillor Kamper, jy skil die raad koek. Die volgende vergadering sal ons dan nou 'n teetjie geniet. Raadslid Kamper, baie seën op die lewe, mag die Here se hand op u rus met goedheid en guns. Alles wat u aanpak, dis my wens dat u net prosper sal wees in die Our 2nd of May will be celebrating his birthday on the 28th of April. Burgemeester, u gaan nie wegkom met die koek nie. Ons sal by die volgende vergadering sal ons nou by ons stadsvader 'n lekker koekie. But the 2nd of May, I believe that you will be taking leave, and you will not get the office on your birthday. So I want to wish you a special warm birthday on the 28th. Just like the pastor this morning prayed, it's also my wish on behalf of council that God will grant you wisdom, that he would keep you safe, and that he would keep you healthy. Family supporting you, that they will also on their lives be an abundant blessing because they are your support system. Thank you for what you're doing for this time. I see you arrive early in the morning and going home late at night and having after hours functions and meetings with the community, and we value the role that you play and what you do for this town. So many, many blessings. And I hope on your birthday you will also have a lekker cake. Councillors, then we have our list of our members from the public, the residents of our beautiful town, West Pass on. And you have the names in front of you. I would like you to please rise for a moment of time.
Speaker,
Yes, Councillor Kamper.
ek wil graag nog 'n naam bysit my. Ek dink ons almal is bekend met Graham Williams. Hy het ook gistermiddag het hy afgesteur, groot kampvegter van Jesus van Mossel by. Ja, Jesus is nog genoem. So ek wil graag sy naam op by die lyksboek spreek.
Thank you very much. We add the name of Mr. Graham Williams to our list. We'll also think of him this morning. Thank you very much, Councillor. You all may be seated. Roman 10 on our agenda, Municipal Manager. Any written questions received? Councillor Kamper, can I have the light for the
Speaking of, for the first time in a long time, we don't receive any other questions or attention. Thank you.
No questions in.
Councillor Koosman, please.
Speaker. Ek wil net sê, maar speaker, maar ek het nog voor die gehoor. Daar was 'n probleem in die systeem gewees, ek het 'n mosie deurgestuur. Maar dat lyk nie of of het ontvang as die email. Maar ek hoor mos nou dat ietsie dat was 'n probleem nie. So so ek wil verstaan dat onder by die volgende vergadering. Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Camper. Yes, our system was down over the past few days, and we will definitely look into that email. We can just check perhaps now during the course of the day, we might probably receive it, but for this meeting, we have not. So, but I note, and you're more than welcome, and we will definitely attend to it as soon as the office receives the motion, Councillor Camper. Executive Mayor, any other questions to your office? Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. We are then at Roman 11, and that is our agenda that we will now go through. Thank you very much, councillors. We are on page 431. Our first item on the agenda is the disposal of capital assets, item E65. It's in front of council. To approve, can I please have a proposal in second?
Madam Speaker, I'll propose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Furness. Do you have a second for Councillor Furness?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will say.
Thank you, Councillor Mayor. Is there any questions from any councillor on this item? No, thank you. The item does carry unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Item E66, our finance management report for the period of March 2023. This is our section 52 report in terms of the inventory. We have our recommendations listed, points 1 to 2, 1 for council to take cognizance, and secondly for council to review and consider the report, the quarterly amount saved due to the cost containment policies put in place. Can I please have a proposal?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to propose for E66.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jansen van Rensburg. You have a second, please.
Madam Speaker, I'll second. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Flores. Is there any question from any councillor? I see the lights of Councillor House and Councillor Buddha in that order. You may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I would like to just make my apology. I noticed that Section 52 report was going to be provided late. And then yesterday when I went through my agenda, I realized that it did not yet have the report. I've checked through my emails now, Jen, I don't see it. If I've missed it, I apologize. But for that reason, Speaker, I'll abstain on the item. I did slip up, I should have followed up sooner. But I unfortunately haven't had an opportunity to work through the report. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. Yes, I sent out the communication as requested from Finance Department. But the report said it was sent, was uploaded. I asked Carly yesterday to double check, and she informed me that it was provided. But we also had realities the past 3 days, Councillor House, with our emails and things. Because also late last night, I also received just a lot of emails coming through that was already sent, I think, by Monday. So they were technical errors, but as per my communication, I did apologize, and I would like to apologize for the delay. But I note that we will then abstain from this item. Thanks, Councillor Fox. Councillor Buddha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we welcome this report. But, Madam Speaker, great concern. We can't have a good governance and financial viability. Madam Speaker, when you look all the documents, you unpack everything, section 52, section 72. You only find that you can make an example. These people after me, they are found, all of them, they are representing the wards.
Yes.
No people, they are representing the wards.
Yes.
Now we can't have a nice report, clean audit, and so on, while other ones suffer in terms of the budget. Speaker. We are just frustrated, Speaker.
Because just now we come from the whole way people their resignation in terms of the ITP. Then you come there and find it very aggressive people angry people because we go to the ITP and then the people there has issues, other there is issues. You find that nothing is budgeted for those works. I think that is the end of the roads today. When you come to the budget, everyone is supposed to find money from the country, taxpayers' money. I make an example speaker last week one day. I said, you see this ANC, they say the corrupt ANC. These people, they are supposed to find the RTP house. You receive an RTP house, even you are wearing the red t-shirt, Malima t-shirt or the DA t-shirt, because you qualify from the criteria where you earn 3,000 downwards, you never receive a house, 900 in South Africa. This money of municipality is supposed to be done like that, not otherwise supposed to go in drought for the years. Only find when you compare, you find out that what they receive 10 million, and then you find my watch, for instance, nothing. When you go to the agriculture, the ITP in the world, I like a dog, which dog, shivering, because really, I want that the director, they must take consideration. We can't again and again say good spirit in this country while others suffering like that. We are not beggars here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Buddha. I take note, Municipal Manager. We take note, very important point raised by Councillor Buddha. I think the Mayor and previous occasions also indicated and alluded to the fact that it is important that there need to be a widespread explanation. We must ensure that we service all our youths correctly, so as what Councillor Buddha has indicated, so that is indeed well noted. Councillor Buddha, I did not receive an indication from you that you are against the report. You just raised your input in terms of what you wish to see. Okay, that's good. Any other councillor? Councillor Baron.
Speaker, thank you. The idea I must just say is the chairperson of the impact. That we also raised in the last meeting, 21st of April. We raised this concern. Administration did explain the reasons for them not to be in time. And they said it was but we did address it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baron. And to you. Councillor Porters, the comment your position on this report.
Thank you. Our is to highlight also the area of the spread of the budget, particularly on the issue of sanitation, toilet, bucket system. I don't think we can even tolerate allowing the bucket system still in our presence. And I want to be very proud of this municipality being the #1 municipality. When we can finally say that this municipality has no bucket system at all. The issue of what is it, Brandbach, the almost at the back, when that community is living without electricity and water, all the basic needs that are necessities will absent. Similar to Barnesfontein, where we have the toilet water system issue. I think that is private. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Also, yeah, you mentioned that also in your emails that we have received. I'm not getting an indication from you that you are against the report. Just highlighting some issues.
So we don't want to be against and be against, but if we are to back the different things. We are talking about things that were supposed to be eradicated a long time ago. I don't want to be against it now. Let me support it with an understanding that our community will also be supported in terms of the budget.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Also, Nelson Mayor is making a lot of notes. All the inputs raised. Mayor, do you like to comment?
Yeah, thanks. That's one of the first things we asked when we came into office. Unfortunately, there's some reasons why some of these systems, it's a problem to eradicate them. Some of the areas not buffalo, but we can't. Some of it's private land and so. And obviously sprawling of communities just jumping up. Then we must, in terms of budget, way to get them. But I definitely share the concern and we must relook at what the areas can be done. So I agree with it. But there is challenges. It's not that we're not willing, there's just some challenges.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. We then have very indeed. Yes,
Yes,
Councillor Parker.
Madam Speaker, I want to ask two questions, please. I think last time, under correction, Brandbach, property of Brandbach, because last time they said they can't give services to these people because the property didn't belong to the municipality. So they must just finalize to get this property on the name of the municipality before they can give services to the Brandbach community. What is the stance of Bartelsfontein? Because the district municipality is also they must also do services to people outside the boundaries, Mr. Emming, of these farmers. What is the stand of and I hear what Councillor Porter is saying about the bucket system, but the district municipality is also to give services to this communities outside the boundaries of Mossel Bay. Madam Speaker.
Thanks for your question, Councillor Kampo. If you can switch up the line, please. I'm just really briefly going to allow you to respond in terms of the responsibility with the district. So that Councillor Kampo can have an answer, but we can also just immediately in just please.
Speaker, now we on the item of the approval of the picture to report the Bartelsfontein question is coming up. I'm aware that the meeting set up, Mr. Naidu will be involved in it. As the mayor said, Speaker, we will do everything from our side to see what we can do to alleviate the problem. I can unfortunately not speak on behalf of today, but there will be a meeting coming up soon. Councillor Porter is aware of that. So Naidu will be. We will see what we can do to alleviate the issue.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. We can of course communicate to council so that council and Councillor Porter or others can be up to date. In terms of the approval of the item, we have the HDP who's abstaining and we record it as such. The others are being support. Thank you very much. We move to item E67. The writing of irrecoverable debts for the period finding at 2023. Just have Councillor Porter and Councillor Delmay who excuse themselves quickly for the parliament. Can I have a second, please? For proposers?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to propose, please.
Thanks, Councillor Furness is proposing. Can I now have a second, please? Councillor Sapuncha, thank you very much for seconding. I see the light of Councillor House. Councillor House, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll simply abstain.
Abstains. Thank you very much. We note Councillor Buddha.
And Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we welcome this report. And now we've got the policies and so on that we say that is irrecoverable. Support to council as long as we're taking care of the indictment. We used to see in the delegated powers of the MN, the executive mayor, all of them, they are just taking care of the environment, cancelling of the tax. But I went out the office to serve the CFO, so it was a work extra much. I was reading the names now. Every time I read the name, I was starting from just level to improve. When I read that, I found that in the first bracket, lot of people that find this total cost. This benefits and so on, and so on. But when I look at just level, I saw you. Maybe the officer really didn't arrive there, so no need. Those people that and suffering also some of them blocked by the technical water and its winter. So I want that the office of the airport must like take care of all other ones so that you look for the event so that you can all of us in one page can.
Thank you, Councillor Buddha. That is noted. We have the ACPP abstaining. No other councillor wishes to ask anything within proceeds. Shall we report the ACPP abstaining? Page 441, item E68, relief measures for the national state of disaster, COVID-19 pandemic by the Brak Rubber Kayak and SUPS PDR 45. Can I please ask for a proposal in terms of the, I know Councillor Buddha's leaving for the restroom. In terms of the recommendations listed 1 to 7.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to propose, please.
Thanks, Councillor Furness. A second for Councillor Furness, please. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Speaker? I'd like to second this item, please. Thank you very much, Councillor Annie Jansen van Rensburg. We welcome the work to the council meeting. Your apology was noted. I see the light of Councillor House. Is there any other question? Councillor House, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. My only question regarding this item is why the applicants waited almost 3 years to request that the tender be extended and that the debt be not. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Councillor House. I see no other line. Next door manager, yourself or your CFO.
Yeah, Chairperson, I think what happened here, if you look at the collaborator item on page 445, they applied during September 2022, which was a reasonable time after the COVID was lifted. I'm speaking under correction, Speaker, but I think there was some correspondence between the department and this person. It was only later escalated to legal services, and we discussed it and decided this is the correct route for which to go. They didn't benefit from the tender that they received, they couldn't do business and so on. It could also have been that they heard from other people who got some concessions during the COVID time. So I can't answer 100% of Council House.
Follow-up, Councillor First.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, through you to the email is correct. I did read their correspondence. I saw that they had, September and so on, that there had been correspondence prior to that. I think the question that I'd like to have answered is the fact that they have now been granted this after such a long time has passed after the relief measures were introduced. What would be our approach should further companies approach us now only for relief measures for possible losses during COVID time and so on? Are we not setting a precedent now by allowing this and then in another few months' time we still have to write with more debt? Is a considerable amount of time after the fact. I'm not opposed to us assisting them. I think I'd just like to know what our stance will be getting into the next few months should we get another request like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor House.
Speaker, I think council has over many years proven to be fair to any resident. So in my view, if another one comes after a couple of months, they should be treated the same if the circumstances are more or less the same. You don't want to put somebody to an advantage, but you also don't want to disadvantage somebody. That is my view, that we should be fair, transparent at all times.
Met the merit, of course, municipality, very important. I found your post, you covered there. You indicated that you're not opposed to this item. I see no light. Nobody.
Yeah. Speaker,
Ja, raadslid.
Kabalak genoot, paraat het house. Was nog niet uitgaan van mensen gaan sê wat ons weet. Dat hulle dieselfde kan doen.
Thank you very much, councillors. The item was carried unanimously. We move then to our next item. Item E69, the monthly report with regard to supply chain management for February. Can I please have a proposal?
Door speaker, ek sal graag die item wil voorstel.
Dankie, achtbare raadslid. Het ons 'n sekondant.
Madam Speaker, I will second that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Burners. Any questions on the report? Yes, Councillor House.
Thank you, Speaker. My apologies if my question was answered in the documentation that we received. I couldn't see it. But I'd like to know the contingency that was given on the De Novo tender was granted for, it was extended. There was an expansion on the tender granted on the De Novo water works. But it was work that was done in Hartenbos. Why could the expansion not be given on the Hartenbos tender? Why was it given on the De Novo one? Even though the work was done in Hartenbos. Thank you.
Thanks for your question. CFO. Is it Mr. Naidoo? CFO, Mr. Naidoo. Director Naidoo, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Speaker. The description of the project on the capital program is the replacement of water lines, all areas. So the project wasn't specifically for the Nova. We could spend the money anyway, as long as it's within the intended amount.
Thank you very much for that clarity, Councillor. House is covered.
Sorry, my apology. Mayor?
Do you have a follow-up?
Yes, thank you. That was mentioned in the item was that it was attended in all areas. But then I'm wondering why it was mentioned, why De Novo was being mentioned. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand how the expansion works. Would the expansion then not just be given on the general tender? Why was De Novo then mentioned in the item? Thank you.
If you can, Director Naidoo.
The contractor site camp was at De Novo. The tender is worded in such a way, or the tender, you've got a big amount for the work that's done at De Novo, but you also have a rate per meter to replace the water line in any other area. So the rate per meter was used for Hartenbos. But part of the work was done. But we can explain that outside the meeting. I think we can go into more detail.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Director Naidoo, now, other questions, Councillor Kuntu.
En was not in favor. Ngicela nje ukuthatha umbona udirector ngomphendula apha kwi-table naseka committees FC6 of 2023. Kune-table phaya ekhoyo eye-report about February. Kune-description ebekiweyo phaya kunothi DR 126/2020/2021. Cela ndicacisele iminishi ukuthini kasethu.
Kuntu, can you repeat again
Mr. Naidoo,
so that Director Naidoo can understand, or you can speak English if you can. Would you
Madam
repeat?
Nitipa kwekunafika kwi-table epha F16 yayize kwi-committee page 7 kune-table ekhoyo phaya i-description ekhoyo phaya kulaa column ine-description. Yes. Ithi nanasika pha expansions of TDR 126/2020 stroke 2021. Ifuna ukwazi into yokuba uyimenishe ukuthini.
Director Nadi, 11. We are at item E69, the supply chain management report for February. And Councillor Mkontu is asking a question from the committee report on item, what's your item? Item FC16.
F616/04/2020.
FC16, yeah, I see that.
Because they are referring us to that item.
All right. Is it the CFO or was the
Madam
nine?
Speaker, it's FC, then it will be the finance
The
report,
finance.
but I don't have the details yet.
Okay, let's see if CFO can help and assist here, CFO.
Apologies, Speaker, just with regards to that table, the expansion and releasement initiative table for February 2023. And I just need to, because there's 4 on page 7 of the committee's meeting, there's a table with 4 items in. Just like to find out there's 4 items.
Yeah, that's the one.
The expansion, that's tender 126, tender 211, and tender 211.
That's correct.
Okay, what on which tender would you like to ask? Because the CFO needs to know there's 4 and he wants to know what tender he's speaking to.
I think I was clear that the expansion TDR 126/2020/2021.
Councillor
I just need to get an indication what that means.
Madam Speaker, let me just offer it. It's expansion, it's the first one, it's for Astor Construction for the amount of 210,593 rand and 45 cents.
Is that the one, Councillor Kuntu?
I think the councillor there is explaining the other thing. But what my question is on the way they return the TDR. Stroke I-126, stroke 2020, stroke 2021.
And
That's where I'm asking what that means.
It is started.
So the
Okay, so the councillor wants to know what that description is meaning, what it is.
okay. The tender is when the original tender number that was awarded. That is tender 126 of 20. What's this now? 2020-2021. That's when the original tender was. That's the original tender record for reference number. So this is just an expansion on that, meaning there's additional work that's required on that specific tender.
Thank you. It's very, very, very clear. We understand as such as Councillor Kuntu is covered. No other questions on the item. We move forward. Item E70, the supply chain management report for deviations approved for the period of February 2023. It's in front of us for council to take cognizance. Can you please have a proposal?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will propose.
Do we have a second for Councillor Meyer, please?
Madam Speaker, I'll second. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mark. Any questions on our deviation report? I see the light of Councillor Hope.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd just like to ask, the training of the canine dog, was this covered by the money received from province or did it come from the Mossel Bay budget? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions on the deviations? Any other questions? None. We only have one question. Mr. Williamson, will you be able to assist? Thank you.
Speaker is covered by the funding received from province.
For province.
Everything under K9 unit and now is funded from province.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williamson, our acting director. Very clear, Councillor Coates understand. No other questions on the deviations. We then move to item E71, our revised OHS policy. This is for council to approve. Can I please have a proposal in this regard?
Madam Speaker, I propose.
Thank you very much. We have the portfolio chairperson proposing. Do we have a seconder?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I will second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Is there any questions from any council on this policy? I see the light of Councillor Buddha. You may proceed.
And Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I see the union just it look like there are different groups. If you look much in the sun, there are strengths, there are different, and then the what to do.
Yes, thank you. We have the views of both unions there, Mr. Manager.
Yes, and I can confirm to council that the unions are both very happy after this amendment. It was about them having to give one code back to the municipality, and they say there are traditions and customs and everything. So this one, they're very happy with it that they don't have to give the old uniforms back.
Yes, I also understand it as such. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any councillor wishes to ask anything else? The item does carries unanimously on our revised policy. We then on item E72, our revised code of conduct with regard to political activities and municipal employees. The recommendations listed points 1 to 2 in front of council to approve. Can I have a proposal, please?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I will propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Do we have a seconder?
Thank you, Speaker, I second.
Thank you very much. Portfolio chairperson, is there any questions from any councillor? To the light of Councillor Buddha, you may proceed.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we want to more explanation in this item. Because when I look at, if you look at the recommendation number 1, but I see there when you go down, this municipal system amendment of 3 of 2022 being one of them 2022. Can the director explain more about this code of conduct for these employees so that you can see what to do?
Thank you very much. Councillor Buddha is asking clarity around point 1 that indicates clause 4.7 to be amended to include the effective date of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act being 1 November 2022. Director, thank you very much. You may proceed.
Councillors, this was not a municipal decision, but this was a legislative change, so we just aligned the change of legislation.
Thank you very much, Director. So Director is indicating that due to the amendment in the legislation, we then have to align our code of conduct for our employees. Follow up?
Yeah.
You may proceed.
I was going to answer, Speaker, this is going to apply for all the people here in Mossel, because nationally, that these employees, they are not threatened, they are not, they can affiliate to any political party, they can have anywhere. I will think here also we are going to do the same.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Manager.
Chairperson, I understand what Councillor Buddha said. There are 2 schools of thought. A lot of people are angry with this legislation because on other spheres of government, employees are allowed to partake in political. This is for local government. Systems Act, we must adhere to it. Our officials shouldn't be office bearers in political parties. So we have to implement it.
As per 1 November 2022, when you received when the amended act kicked in, That's when the legislation then came to effect. And of course, as a municipality, we then had to align, as director indicated, our municipal policy. Nobody's against, Councillor Baron.
I can just something, anything on this point.
Okay.
Check that the revised code of conduct with regard to political activities by municipal employees be approved by council. That's what you check, so what decide, meaning they can be part of a political party as a member, but they must not participate in activities. Is that what it's saying?
That's how I understand. Can I get confirmation? 100% correct. You covered? Thank you very much. Councillor House, you have a question on this item?
Speaker, more statement than a question, but perhaps we can just get an information that this legislation came into effect 26/10/2022, 2022, and it is not retroactive. In other words, it's only applicable from the 26th of the 10th and not prior to that.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. Nobody's against this item. It does carry unanimously. We are then at item 73, the dress code and personal appearance policy. Our recommendation is that the proposed amendments to the dress code and personal appearance policy be approved by council. Can I please have a proposal?
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, you do. I propose is 73 as suggested.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mbumbu. Well, seconder.
Madam Speaker, I would second this item.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kutsira. Are there any questions? Councillor House, I see you live.
Thank you, Speaker. I don't have any issue with the item. I would just like an explanation. Perhaps the item states that terms such as male or female could possibly constitute sexual discrimination. I can understand the gender discrimination, but not the sexual discrimination. Could that be explained to us, please?
Thank you very much for your question. Director Potgieter or Mr. Torrance, perhaps? Director Potgieter. Director Potgieter, thank you.
Councillor House, yes, I hear what you're saying. I do agree. I believe it means gender discrimination and not sexual discrimination in this instance.
Thank you.
Speaker, may I then propose that you correct that and that it just say gender discrimination?
The proposal on the item is the proposal. Councillor Mbumbu. Councillor Mbumbu, that amendment or correction as per what Councillor House has indicated and the clarity provided by Director Potgieter. Are you comfortable if we just correct that wording as the proposal?
Thank you, Speaker. That shouldn't be a problem. I'm comfortable with it.
And the seconder, are you also?
Madam Speaker, I would support that change.
Thank you very much. We then have that correction included as per the proposal for approval. Thank you, Councillor House. The item carries unanimously. Thank you very much, councillors. Item E74, staff establishment review and proposed changes for implementation on 1 July 2024. Can I please have a proposal in this regard?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to propose, but I also want to carry in an amendment.
You may proceed, Mayor.
It's one that environmental management compliance part moves back to the Director of Community Safety with effect from 1 July 2024. The proposed changes with regards to the maintenance of features remain as indicated on the supporting documentation to the item. That will serve before council. Operationally, environmental management will remain under Directorate of Community Safety on 1 July 2023. Then the division, local economic development, moves back to the Directorate Planning and Development with effect from 1 July 2024. Operationally, LEB will remain under the Directorate Planning and Economic Development on 1 July 2023. Challenges caused by electronic and other processes be default with departmentally. Then the consultation with affected officials and trade unions be held before the council meeting on 26/23. That wasn't possible. This is due to some of the late changes. Then that the information on the staff establishment report due to this late changes does not include the above changes, and the report will be amended accordingly before it is submitted to the MEC for consideration.
And the proposal is actually that. Thank you very much, Executive Mayor, for proposing with those amendments. Before the amendments fund can I have a seconder for the Executive Mayor.
Madam Speaker, I second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Leroux. I have the Emin and the Councillor Baron. Councillor Baron, thank you very much.
Speak on what the mayor mentioned about the consultation. I can confirm that we had consultation with both unions as well as officials who were affected, and they are all in one accord with it. No area on the team.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. Councillor Baron.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, from my side, the Freedom Front Plus is not against this item. We know it's not for this book year, and we know it's not for next book year. It started 24-25. I should like, from my side, from the side of the Freedom Front Plus, that we have at the new appointments also someone from our own community. It is the owners of this country, the real owners, so that we can bring the language of the point back. It's a request. I don't say we must change anything now, yeah, but it's a request from me to both the DA and the administration. Because next year, 1st of April, the point community will sit here in this council, and we didn't plan for it. That's my request. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baron. You indicated that you're not against the item, but just commenting on what you would like to see. Mr. Manager, do you want to respond to Councillor Porter? And I'd like for the image, then I'll give you an opportunity. Thank you very much.
Yeah, President, I just want to find out if I understand correctly that this is the organogram. It's not about people who are going to do what the council said. We'd like to see somebody in the municipality who can speak the Khoi language. That's basically what I'm hearing.
Councillor Porter, you may proceed.
Yeah. Periodic Alliance take note of the amendments, quite a lengthy list of amendments that has been brought to our attention in this council right now. We are in the opportunity for rules because the document as it is prior to the amendment that and therefore our submission request that we defer this letter to the next council so that we can also digest the information that the mayor has now put as additions to the item.
Thank you very much for your request made now. To the proposed Executive Mayor, there is a request from the
Speaker, yes, we also actually asked for the same. We applied our mind. Still yesterday we had almost a 2-hour debate, and the days prior to that as well. We spent quite a few hours over the past weeks on this. What it basically, and obviously with due to time constraints in terms of compliance, this must go through. That's why it's here, and that's why I'm bringing this and okay with this at this late moment. But what it basically boils down to is that everything is going to remain almost the same as it is, with minor changes only often that environmental affairs. They're going to stay where they are as well. So everything is basically staying the same, except for the maintenance side of environmental affairs. We don't want our environmental specialists to go and fix the toilets on the beach. That's not their job. That should be a maintenance under a maintenance person and so on. So basically that's the sum it up. That's basically almost the only change. I don't know in terms of the summary, if there's anything else small, but as far as I can recall, that's basically it's good. But the proposal is that it actually stays the same. So there was proposals for various changes, and what we're actually getting is that they stay the same with that minor change.
With that clarity, Councillor Porter, are you comfortable that we proceed with the item in terms of our time frame?
But on having the really put it under the magnifier, I would then trust the mayor wanting to put that it's a good effective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for trusting the mayor, Councillor Porter. Councillor House.
Thank you, Speaker. Let me say the ACDP abstention is no reflection on our lack of trust in the mayor. The reason the ACDP is going to abstain, Speaker, is because there are no costs associated to the item under financial implications. And reading through the item, there are several new posts that will be created. So I would assume that that would have a financial implication. I'm also sensitive to the fact that with the development that's happening in Mossel Bay, the staff of the municipality are under pressure, and I appreciate that they need more hands on deck. So I can understand that. And then the other concern I've mentioned is that we perhaps in the future have reasons listed for the movement of workers to different directorates and under different leadership. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor House. We note that you are abstaining. The municipal manager would like to respond in terms of what you raised with reference to the financial implications. Emily?
Speaker, no, Councillor House thinks ahead of us. Any new post will have a financial implication, but before we can fill it, it must come back to council. So these are not supposed to be filled tomorrow. But just to let you know what Mayor said, you will remember that the new staffing regulations became effective in September 2021. And this item, the review of the staff establishment must be completed before the end of June this year. And from today, Mayor, that's why it cannot be postponed for another month. After today, we've got 14 days to send it up to the MEC. The MEC will make its inputs, send it back to us, and then council must take that into consideration and approve the final document before the end of June. So that is the reason, and it doesn't affect any individual worker. It doesn't touch their service, their fund, their money, or conditions of service, not at all. And that's why this morning we had a meeting with them, and we didn't get a single negative response from them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that clarity, Municipal Manager. The mayor would like to add.
Yeah. No, thanks. I just want to thank the director and the team, Mr. Engelberg, as well for their indulgence with us, having these debates and at a very late stage asking for the changes or to actually keep it as it is. So thank you. They've done a lot of work already in the background, and now they have to redo some of the work like the negotiations. So thank you, Amy, for them also so quickly. This was actually a summary of what Gerda sent me back after our latest discussions that I read in. And that's why she also took the undertaking. I told them if we're not going to comply, we'll take the flag. I'll take the flag for that. And the mayoral committee, because we at this late stage still didn't made up our mind. And so on, but they're still trying to comply, and that's why they already had the talks within 2 days with the union. So thank you very much, Eminem, for that. We really appreciate it. Then just in terms of the concern of, as Eminem said, this is just the structure, push not necessarily going to be built, but just in terms of yesterday we worked the budget again, having to cut the team, what was it, 50 odd million only on the capital budget, the draft. So we're still busy cutting. As said, it's the first time ever in all these years that at this late stage we're still cutting. And I heard the plea of the chairperson of the ANC or the work of the ANC. And yes, we're cognizant. That's exactly what we yesterday said. We're busy cutting, and then all of a sudden we realize, but now we must check that we don't cut some of the wards that feel that there's not enough being done. So we're cognizant of that. But at this stage, we're still almost 28 million, I think. Still, after we sat almost an hour and a half and worked through that. At this stage, I can mention that the staff establishment, we had the robust debate regarding that. In terms of collective agreements, we were unable to curb some of the the rising costs. At this stage, in terms of the draft budget that's out to the public comment, we are looking at about a 15% increase on staff expenditure. But that is also taking into consideration new posts. So there is some new posts. And the questions we've asked is this post of critical importance because we're under this financial strain at this stage. So we're really applying our minds and we're still busy working, cutting, unfortunately, colleagues. So there is going to be unhappy directors and councillors. That's unfortunately the reality. We're sitting with a very financial issue, financial strenuous time that we're in. And that's why we're also persistent in keeping some of the lights still on, although there's load shedding. And we know a lot of people are angry about that and so forth. But at the end of the day, we can see in our budget that the millions, we're just losing millions. That's not going to be there to roll out services next year or next financial year.
Thanks for your additional input, Executive Mayor. Share the concern, Councillor House, your second opinion.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm definitely sympathizing with the Mayor and the problems that I know we are facing when we look at our budget. I can imagine it's only going to get worse, even for our employees who are facing rising food costs and the difficulty that people have in just making it in really lower income groups. Speaker, I think my concern, besides the fact that the budget is also regarding, as I mentioned, the movement of staff under directorates, because I know a couple of years ago we paid a large sum of money to a company that specializes in this type of, I can't recall the correct words now, sorry for that, but where they actually specialize in how the directorates fit together and which complements of staff fall under them. And so I see we've changed that organogram several times since then, and I'm just concerned that that would then at the end of the day amount to wasteful expenditure if we're not actually taking that into consideration. I don't want to belabor the point, but I hear what our member said, and if this item is then going to be returning back to council, then I won't abstain on the item now, Speaker, then I will accept the item. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. And we note all your concerns and comments made. The item thus carries unanimously with all the clarity by the and the input from the Mayor, but all concerns are duly noted. We then move to item E75, the last year's Festival Commission Solution Sanctions Speech for the period of 23 November to the 26th of November for 2023. Can I please have a vote in this part?
Speaker, I would gladly propose that.
Thank you very much for gladly proposing, Councillor Lavie. Do I have a second for Councillor Lavie?
Madam Speaker, I second the item.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kutsia. Are there any questions or clarity from anybody? Council unanimously support. Thank you very much. Item 376. The application for hosting of the Matric by 2023 in Mossel Bay from the 1st of December 2023 until the 10th of December by the Party Fest Entertainment. And I please have a proposer, some other recommendations listed in front of us.
Proposer, Councillor Baron, and plus.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baron is proposing for the approval. You have a second for Councillor Baron?
Yes, Madam Speaker, you do. Thank you also to Councillor Baron.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Source of funding, is there any questions from the item? In the light of Councillor Holt, any other councillor? No, Councillor Holt, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I just wanted to ask, I noticed that event organizers asked that they make use of Santos Beach. And I'm wondering what the reason for this is. I couldn't pick that up in the item. I would think it would be better to contain the function, the events in an area via and hyperloop that section. Now bringing it to town, what is the reason for that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director now.
Yeah, as far as I understand it, the council goes, the idea is to have day activities. We actually welcome it that it's, the whole idea right from the beginning was that there's some activities in Grootbrak all over town so that all business can benefit from all the students being in town. And the idea is to have day activities then there, beach activities, and then at night they will move to dias. But we actually welcoming it that they're spreading it a bit. We also know that a lot of the taxis brought in with transport and so forth. So we're really trying to apply our mind to see how it can benefit as much different communities as possible.
Thank you. It's familiar. Director now, nothing to add. The mayor covered. Councillor Holt, second opportunity.
Thank you, Speaker, and truly thank you to the mayor and folks next to me. And my concern, the reason why I was asking it is because of possible drunk driving and life at risk and that type of thing. But I understand then if the taxis are going to be transporting people and they are going to be that risk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Holt. There's no objection that I experienced. Councillor Holt's questions has been answered. I think that's unanimous. Thank you, councillors. We are then on item E77, application for the hosting of beach weddings at Melrose Beach. As we onderwys Santos daar, dan kan die treintjie vir die wat nie weet nie. By Oakland Property Investments. Santos Express. Can I please have a proposal? We have the recommendations listed from points 1 to 9.
Madam Speaker, I would like to propose this item.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kutsia. Do we have a second for Councillor Kutsia?
As Speaker, second there.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kalmeyer. Is there any questions? Beach weddings, Councillor Kuda. I see the light of Councillor Post and then Councillor Machusi. Councillor Post.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I couldn't pick up in the item whether there would be some kind of a fee for the use of the beach. And I know that we allow the use of the Harrogate Park to private individuals as well for weddings and so on. I'm not sure if there's a cost associated with that. If I can just get a reply, because this I'd like to state is different to an individual applying. This is a person wanting to use the beach for business purposes. In other words, they will be making a profit. And I think that that needs to be considered then in the item. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Paul, for your question. And then will it be okay, legal services, or can we ask the Councillor Majesty? Okay. Legal services will respond, Mr. Perez. Councillor Majesty.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. The reason for not asking a fee at this stage, and the reason for being the trial period is that this was a unique application. It was not in terms of council property, council land like the Harrogate Park. It was the seashore, and it's dealt with in terms of that bylaw. That's the reason for wording it as such. And you will see it was in terms of the bylaw relating to control of the seashore of the sea, and that no person without the of the Mossel Municipality may use the seashore because it is back public land. But being an application where you can promote these business or business as such and other opportunities, it was brought to council for consideration. And see it work. I think it should it work, and after 6 months you'd like to review it. I think then perhaps we will have to look at the legality of asking seashore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns. I'm going to ask Councillor Machusini to please expose his question. So proceed, Councillor.
Okay, who was the one, le nkampani sikwazi uba le nkampani ngoku umntu ofuna ukwenza iimpahla uzawutapha kulaa umzekelo umntu ofuna utshata bafuneka ufositelekile uba makayogqitha kule nkampani imenzele umtshato. Le ntabiso laa ndawo yindawo yabantu. Santos Beach. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Councillor Machusini. Mr. Okay, Mr. President. Thank you, Charity now.
Speaker, thank you. Any member of the public can apply to use any beach in the municipal area for a wedding. There is no fees involved to get married on the beach, whether it's in Grootdorp, Ladybrook, Lintana, or Bostana, or wherever. You, however, do have to apply because we need to set the rules that you may not allow rubbish and etc. So it's just permission that we give, but there's no cost involved. You do not have to work through this company. This company provides a service, but you can use your own company if you want to do it like that. So there's no commitment to use things.
Thank you very much for that adequate clarity. Because it's very clear that any member from the public can use our beaches for something fast, but follow due process because there are things that needs to be put in place in order to have a function. Councillor Machusini, you covered? It's very clear.
I'm covered.
You covered. Thank you very much, Councillor Forrest.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I think if this item is going to return to council once the 6-month trial period is over, then I'm happy to go along with it. I think I'd also like to just mention, not to drag other businesses into it, but there is a business towards Grootdorp that also conducts marriages on the weddings on the beach, and I'd just like to see a uniform approach to this type of thing. So if we're not charging them and they're doing it as a business, then I would assume it's fair that they not charge these people. But yes, what is definitely be returning to council in 6 months. That's what I'd like clarity on.
That's your question. Mr. Princeton, what is confirmed?
Thank you, Speaker. It will depend on the applicant. I will put a condition if they wish to go further with this, they will have to reapply.
Thank you, Mr. Prince. So we will put the condition to the end. Okay. Thank you very much. Councillor Kwanzaa, beach weddings open for everybody. There is no objection to the item. It carries unanimously. Thank you very much for all the input. It is duly noted. We are then on item E78. Assistance agreement between the Mossel Municipality and Emergency Disaster Response International for disaster and fire services. We have our recommendation which listed 1 to 9. Can I please have a proposal?
Madam Speaker, I propose, Councillor Van Dyk.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dyk. Do you have a second for Councillor Van Dyk?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I would like to second the proposal.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Is there any questions on the item? Yes, Councillor Machisini.
Enkosi Speaker. Hana senikwazi kampani izawukwazi uyonceda ucima amashoshoshi zonke iintsuku. Izawukwazi uyincedisa ukuya phaa iyocima. Enkosi.
Thank you very much, Councillor Machisini. It's obviously a question of clarity. It does include, this agreement includes, assistance, with our tax funds down. We have, the chairperson, of safety to respond.
Speaker, I think I'll answer it this way, is that does not replace the work of what the current fire department is doing. It is an addition at no charge to the municipality as it is available. There's no cost to council. So it's an additional revenue service where possible, to answer that question.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dyke. Okay, and then also wants to add something.
Speaker, now in just augmenting what is, what the chairperson says, what the question is, that this company concentrate more on life saving. They will, for instance, go down cliffs with ropes. They will help an accident vehicle. I don't want the council to go out and say they're gonna kill check fires and so on. That's still the fire department side. After I'm discussing this one, I went back and I ascertained that they're gonna definitely do more. If people fall down a cliff into the sea, they will come in and assist us. They're not so strong on killing fires, okay? But we can ask them because they are blaming themselves now.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baron, can I have the light to Councillor Machisini, please?
Le nkampani njengoba izawuncedisa ngezi zinto ezawuncedisa ngazo. Ingakwazi ukuncedisa abantu iindawo zokuhlala ezizitshileyo zabo. Ingakwazi ukubanceda njengekwazi izawukwazi ukuncedisa. Ngoba kwangoku asikwazi ukufumana izinto zokuncedisa abantu babakhe. Abantu abanandawo zokuhlala abazitshileyo. Izawukwazi usincedisa usinike izinto.
So Machisini is asking around the starter packs. And I know that question is definitely no, but can I ask, Councillor Baron, can I have the chairperson of safety just to respond?
Speaker, you're quite correct. The answer is definitely no. The additional services are quite rightly explained in the agreement. It says what they are able to do. And that's why I answered to say that it does not take over the role and responsibility of the fire department. It's there to render additional services in need. Something that the fire department might not specialize in. Everything is explained. Also the use of equipment, also the use of consumables. It's all in the recommendation. But it's not taking over the role of the fire department or assisting in terms of the re-erection of shacks or informal settlements.
Thank you very much. So in essence, no, this agreement won't then include starter packs being provided by this organization. Councillor Baron?
Freedom from class will abstain at this point.
The freedom from is abstaining. Is there any other questions from questions? Thank you very much. We then have the Freedom Front abstaining. If it can be recorded as such, thank you very much. We then move on, councillors. We are on item B79. The proposed amendment. Mossel Bay Municipality bylaw relating to public nuisances. Can I please have a proposal in this regard?
Madam Speaker, I propose, Councillor Van Dyk.
Thank Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Do I have a second for Councillor Van Dijk, please?
Yes, Madam Speaker, you have a second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Barumba, for seconding. Do we have any questions of clarity? I see the light of Councillor Barumba. But proceed, Councillor.
Speaker, thank you. This point of public nuisance, we tried to stop it, but no success. And we as the Freedom Front still unhappy about this point. I actually wanted, I still want to ask the ruling party to take this point of the agenda for a lot of reasons. I actually want to ask them from the Freedom Front plus side if they are prepared to take a caucus before we debate. Because I discussed it with a lot of people, even with ruling party members. We had it was at the States taken off the agenda and then it comes back. First the workshop, then back to committee and now in council again. So we try everything to stop this thing. So I first want to ask the DA if they are prepared to take this point of the agenda. If they don't want to, it's fine, then we can debate.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baron. Thanks. Can I Councillor first answer this question? Then you can respond. Councillor Buddha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, based on the objection of 46, we are not here for this. We do finish this item in the committees. Then the people they said they are prime, so I read the chart, they are flying up. Therefore, on our side, we are not supporting this item and it is and especially 46, I support.
Thank you very much. We have got in here not supporting and accordance to the proposal. Request from the front is Councillor Botha.
Yes, Madam Speaker, just a question of clarity and then some input from my side. Firstly, to the ANC, yes, there were 46 comments, and then that initial proposal was changed because of the comments to what we have in front of us now. So the objections were to a previous version, not to what's before us now. And then to the Freedom Front, just a question of clarity. Do they wish to have a caucus with us? Because they did not ask for us to engage us before this meeting. So just clarity, is that a joint caucus request or what is the specific request? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Baron.
Speaker, we previously, I spoke to the caucus leader of the DA about this point, and after that, I think he discussed it with the DA caucus because after that it was taking off the agenda, but now it lands again. To his question, I don't know whether Mr. Botha have support from his other members, the DA. If it is like that, then we can caucus.
Thank you for your clarity, Councillor Baron. Can you switch up your mic? Councillor Botha, there is clarity that the Freedom Front want to join the DA for a focus on item 79.
Madam Speaker, then we'll ask for a 10-minute caucus, joint caucus of the Freedom Front and the DAs. Thank you.
Thank you. I think. And I know what you think. Thank you very much. There's a request for a focus of 10 minutes. which is granted to the DA and the Freedom Front. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. No, I know I know.
They can read that this evening.
But
I get it.
just laugh out loud. They didn't also make me laugh.
Pak spread jangan dulu. Misschien kan man weer op een paar. actual discussion. Kami di layan.
Thank you very much, councillors. We will now reconvene our council meeting. Can just Ronial, you can just close the door. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. We now reconvene. It was a focus request from the DA, and I will now on Councillor Mossel the opportunity to back to the council. We will proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and also thank you to the Freedom Front for the inputs they provided to us and the discussion we had. I think there are still lots of uncertainties regarding this policy. Now we'll give over to Councillor Van Dijk, who is the chairperson, just to clarify our position perhaps a bit further.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We maintain our position in terms of carrying this item and proposing this item for various reasons. We believe that many other municipalities are looking at same, that certain rules and regulations is beyond our control. What we're trying to govern is the nuisance factor and not to inhibit any commercial value and or the use of drones. We're trying, and we've stressed this on many workshops and also in terms of discussions, that it's not our intent to shut down the use of drones. And I think this needs to be clarified and properly communicated at some point. We've taken cognizance of the 42 or 43 comments that were made, but we've also taken cognizance of people on the opposite side in terms of claiming it becomes a nuisance. And if it becomes a nuisance, I think that is what we are trying to affect, not the banning of drones or the use of drones for hobbies, etc. So our perspective is we maintain the proposal and with the secondment in terms of what we put on the table, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. So we then have Councillor Van Dijk was the initial proposer, with Councillor Verma seconded the position is safe. I will ask for the Freedom Front just on record to state their position. The light of the patriotic the input, yes, I really appreciate that. Thanks, Councillor Porter. Councillor Van Roon, I'll grant you your opportunity.
Speaker, on this point, we as the Freedom Front Plus are standing on the side of the community, the outcry of the community there, outside about this public nuisance. I understand the DA's point and how they see it, but we are not seeing it the same. We are honest when we are saying we think of it also as the community that this council is trying to take a monopoly. We think this thing is unreasonable. It restricts people's hobbies. And I also want to say there's a lot of people, the few advocates that we saw in the last 3 weeks that will take this council forward about this point. So the positives of this point is the safety of our community is coming first. If I just can make an example, just around the corner at my house, not long ago, a guy shot one of community corrections police in his yard, and there were 3 of them. And if we have drones, we can make sure that stuff that don't happen. En ek wil dit in Afrikaans sê. As mense wat sê dat die negatiewe kant, mense wat teen die bylaw is, wat enkel die Browns nie support of support, as mense wat ook in die council sit. En ek wil my hele 5 minute wat ek het gebruik om te sê hoe die gemeenskap daar beter voel. Een van die redes wat aangevoer word, is byvoorbeeld as vissermanne vat die Browns in hulle aas in die see in en dan vang hulle haai. Nou, dis ou nuus. Dit gebeur al jaar. Wie wat maak hulle speaker, hulle vat aas, dis in sardines, breek op stukken gooi met 'n drom. Dan gaan hulle hulle, dan wil hulle stap in die see in. Gaan hulle dit al bedrink. As gevolg van die feit dat hulle vis wil vang. Maar dis een nuwe ding nie. As ek moet kies tussen 'n droom wat in my hart gaan kom en kyk of my vrou met 'n baie pak langs die swembad lê, dan kies ek liewerste daai droom wat mense se lewe red. As ek moet opweeg tussen 'n baaibroek en iemand se lewe, dan kies ek die lewe. En ek wil afsluit, Madam Speaker. Ons het die nuus en bylaw en ons gaan rapporteer aan ons kantoor in die Kaap. En hulle het vir ons baie vrae gevra oor die nuus en bylaw. Toe hulle hoor van ons het 'n job. Toe praat het, die eerste vraag wat hulle vra, hoekom het hulle 'n job? Ons moet nou antwoord op dit. Ons het 'n time frame. Ons sê, hulle is op B-munisipaliteit, wat soek julle met 'n job? Dit is een van die vrae wat ons moet antwoord. Uit die ding uit. Ons moet antwoord oor wie se NPC directors, hoe op hy, wat die job bedryf, en waar sit die persoon wat in charge is, die voorsitter, wat 'n politician is. So ek moet al hy goed antwoord, ek sluit af.
Kan jy net vir my die posisie aandui?
Die vryheidsfront posisie is, ons sal nooit die ding kan ondersteun nie. Ons sal ongelukkig nou na die vergadering, sal ons met 'n media conference hê, dat hulle gemeenskap kan sien, ons is nie deel van die ding nie. Want die mense wil dit weet. Baie dankie.
Baie dankie, ons dan die vryheidsfront wat aandui dat hulle is against die die ANC was aangedui dat they are not supporting the lack of the Patriotic Alliance. Thank you, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the Patriotic Alliance views the following. When we listen to Councillor Van Dijk and last comment saying that ons moet at some stage moet ons sekere clear maak in public. I'm getting worried. Because this thing was supposed to have a public participation process. You cannot have something endorsed by council and at some stage you must still go back to the community. You must give everything to the community so that the community can know exactly what it is about. Otherwise, there will be people, there is frustrating, somebody is happy about it, as a form of the speakers have alluded to. But at the end of the day, it is clear in this council today that not all the communications necessary in this matter has been thoroughly communicated. There is one area of concern. I also want to agree with the Freedom Front in terms of the use of these drones. Now, to say that the intention is not to do this, and it is not clear to the public, those people that are using drones, then of course there is a concern that needs to be considered. I also want to make an example. A photographer, and I see we have very qualified, good photographers here. To let's say a, what is this wedding on the beach? Nowadays, they are excelling the products and doing such good quality services to their clients where they're using the drones, where the people are walking, and I mean, these people using the drones for very good purpose will not be clear in terms of whether they're allowed or not. Mind you, I'm sure that anyone that owns a drone knows exactly where to fly and not to fly. The regulations is very clear. You go to Pedro and say you start that thing up, you want to put it up, that thing will tell you, sorry, I'm not allowed. It's a machine telling you, the operator, no, I'm not allowed to go up right here. I also want to conclude to say there's much more illegal tenants and illegal foreign national spaza shop that is not even registered for business. Police those things. And they allow this little and few complaints of drones to be also policed instead of just bringing in a bylaw that will be so confusing. I would not know whether I can use it or not. Thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot to say that we are not in support of it.
Thank you very much. I have the permission of the PAD, the ANC and the Freedom Front. I see the lights of the mayor and Councillor Water and Councillor Khan for that order.
Thank you very much. About 2 weeks ago, various times on early morning, I received a call from a resident complaining about the drone hovering in front of their window. They wanted us to come and address the issue. It's quite difficult to tell the resident that this council do not take your complaint seriously because we decided not to have a policy in place in terms of nuisance. Then there was also mentioned by Councillor Porter that the regulations is the regulations is very clear. So I just want to start with that because we've got a problem that seems that everybody didn't attend or didn't go through all the legislation themselves before having all these arguments. In terms of the Civil Aviation Act, which is a national act, which has got nothing to do with us. We cannot overrule them. No person is allowed to fly from an aerodrome such as the Mossel Airport within 10 kilometers, which means that nobody in the whole Mossel Bay is actually allowed to fly a drone. So yes, I've also got friends that do drone photography and so forth. I also had these discussions with them. We try to address that kind of issues in the bylaw. But the reality is that we cannot overrule the national regulations. So for that person to fly within 10 kilometers from the aerodrome, you need to have a license, unfortunately, a drone license. And I understand that it costs a lot of money. So Councillor Baron as well, we don't disagree with it. We don't want to restrict the hobby. That's not what we want to do. We only want to have something in place for whenever somebody is a nuisance. The stuff that you refer to is because of environment legislation when you're not allowed to fly in drones fish. In terms of national CAA regulations, there's drone regulations on a national level, colleagues. We must understand that. All the legislation you refer to is national legislation. We're trying to have a bylaw to see, we can't control that. We cannot police that. The only thing that we can police is whenever somebody is flying, and so obviously CAA or whoever must enforce that when they're flying drones in Mossel Bay. But from our side, we need to have something to fall back on, and that's how I understand it. Whenever there's a complaint, and it's not the first complaint we receive complaints regularly about nuisances of drones. That's the only thing that we're trying to address. So we're not trying to be funny. We're not trying to tell everybody you're not allowed to use your drone as a hobby. We just want to make sure that we've got something in place for when somebody misuse that. Legislation is only there when people misuse stuff, unfortunately. So that's why I think in terms, it's been public participation, but I think it's important that we communicate again, because in this council, not even where everything is being discussed, we're not clear on what we're having a discussion about. There's misnomers in terms of what we're trying to achieve here. And that's why the request is that we communicate the intention of this bylaw and what our powers are, and what legislations already in place. We communicate that clearly. Councillor is quite correct, that it is a controversial issue, and people, as I've mentioned, I had a very prominent photographer, a drone photographer in my office. I called in legal services, and they explained also everything to me in the way that I'm trying to convey it now as well. Speaker, then just in terms of the job, nobody needs to give us permission. In fact, everybody's complimenting us because we've got a job. Because the Premier's been here, it's also actually interesting that the senior politicians not aware of it. When the Premier and senior politicians been here, we've been in the media, it's been on SABC, it's been everywhere. And yes, we've got directors there that's been appointed by this council, as we have in tourism. So I don't know what's so funny. What funny stuff you think is going on? We've been open, clear, transparent. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's been invited there. This has been communicated in this council on record. So I don't know what you want to take to the media. That's funny because it's all public knowledge already. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Councillor Porta. Councillor Camphor.
Dankie, Speaker.
No, can you kindly just, can you please, Alderman, just switch up the light? I had an order, set the Mayor, Councillor Porta, and then Councillor Camphor. I see the light of Councillor Van Dijk. Then you could just also put yours up.
Dankie, Speaker. Ek het ons sien die raadslede vat hulle volle 15 minute. Voordat ek nou my Ikosa's is 'n mening kan gee of sê wat ons stand rondom die aangeleentheid. Ek hoor ook nou wat raadslede sê en Baron sê, maar daar is daar ook wat die burgemeester sê. En op die stadium of Ikosa baie moeilik om hoeveel kant te kies. Of te sê wat is ons om hierdie ek het die regtig in die hele storie van die agtergrond. So ek sal my eers wel gewis van die agtergrond van die item, Speaker. En van my kant sal ek wel liefste vra vir raadslid Hoofsweep of die punte kan terugverwys word, die Speaker, om net meer agtergrond te kry op grond van wat almal nou hier dan gesê het op die stadium dan sal die Ikosa buite stemming bly, Speaker.
Dankie, Ikosa is buite stemming. Ek teken so aan. Raadslid Mossel. Is die gemaklik. Councillor Porta and then Councillor House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, just regarding Ikosa's request, Madam Speaker, there was a workshop held, which was very poorly attended by councillors. But there was an opportunity. There was also some of the comments was that there's not been proper public participation. There has been. In fact, on what the feedback we received from the public, the entire scope was adjusted to what it is now to only address the nuisance aspect. And the argument that this regulation, this bylaw, will result in us having to choose between life-saving drone operations and not being able to stop someone from spying on his neighbor in an untoward manner. I don't think that holds water, Madam Speaker, because someone who's operating in a life-saving capacity, a drone for safety reasons, or that will not be prohibited in terms of this bylaw, upon my reading of the understanding of the wording. All this does is this gives council the power to issue nuisance fines for proceedings similar to how we can already do it on the ground. Just extending that to also to the airspace. So that's my plain understanding, Speaker. So I don't see how that creates a monopoly for council. Clearly doesn't. someone else can still fly a drone and it's a non-nuisance to anyone. They can do it commercially, they can do it as a hobby. It doesn't say anybody. So that's just my input, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Potter, for your input. Councillor House and then Councillor Van Dyk in that order, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this council will recall that from the moment that this amendment bylaw came to council, the ACDP has opposed it for two reasons. One, an unreasonable expectation for a right to privacy in a public place. And second of all, for the lack of a clear definition of the word nuisance. I did attend the workshop and I think I heard the request that this bylaw is meant to prevent nuisance and also to secure the safety of people in public spaces where drones are being used. I don't object to that, I understand that. However, Speaker, I think this is more than just a practical matter, it's also an ideological matter. And that ideological matter boils down to the fact, as a political party, the ACDP believes that the role of government in society needs to be minimal. It mustn't be invasive, it mustn't overreach into people's privacies and their rights. And I think the objective that needs to be held forefront in our minds is a balancing of rights, a balancing of the right of someone in their property to privacy. But the reality is legislation already exists that doesn't guarantee privacy even within the boundaries of your home. Somebody can stand in the street, take a photo of your house, and that is not against the law. This is the Publication and Films Act. This is sorry, now my language is deserting me, that brain fog. But photography laws are handled through this as well, that there's a right for someone. And we have to consider that if we are now punting this on privacy specifically, then we have to take cognizance of all the cameras we put up all over town with no one's permission that they can film in public spaces. So thank you. I'll listen to that now. And then
thank you, Councillor House. Just give me a minute to the
yes.
Not allowed from the gallery to speak in this council chamber. We don't adhere to the rules. I will ask you to please no comment, no speaking from the gallery. Thank you very much, Councillor House. You may proceed. Can Councillor House have the light?
The Speaker, while I sympathise with the intention of the bylaw, I cannot vote for it because I believe that there needs to be a balancing of rights and the prevention of governmental overreach. So the ACDP votes against.
Thank you very much. I will note the ACDP is against. Councillor Van Dyk, I'll grant you an opportunity and then the Executive Mayor in that order, please. Thank you, Councillor Van Dyk.
Speaker, ek sal graag die Raad en of die Council adresseer.
U mag u kan voortgaan.
En ek gaan begin deur 'n paar opmerkings dalk net te maak as jy my sou toelaat. Ek wou bitter graag 'n repliek gelewer het op Baron se kommentaar wat verwys het na die job toe en alhoewel ek nie relevantie het nie, wil ek die vergunning vra dat u my asseblief sal toelaat om net 1 of 2 kommentare te mag lewer.
U het die probleem nie, nie om te vraag, u mag voortgaan.
Baie dankie, Speaker. Ek wil die hele raad net herinner dat daar eensgesindheid was toe die job gevorm was nommer 1. Volle raad, daar was geen uitsluitsel dat enigiemand teen daardie besluit was. 2, die samestelling van die NPC is ook hier voor die raad gelê en daar was ook geen probleem rondom dit nie. 3, daar was verskeie plekke en tye geskep waar hierdie raad die job kom besoek om spesifiek te kom kyk wat die job doen. 4, ek wil raadslid Baron herinner dat een van sy senior leiers was aanwesig aan 'n parlementêre oorsigkomitee besoek. Waar hy hierdie job gekomplementeer het oor wat hulle tans doen. En hy is welkom om met ons te gesels, raadslid Baron. Hy het dan gevra sou ons bereid wees om hulp te verleen aan die res van sekere dele in die land wat nie 'n job het. So ek vind hierdie kommentaar net uiters vreemd. dat dit nou gemaak word wanneer ons 'n besprekingspunt het oor 'n drug. Hier is iets anders onderliggend wat ek dink die vryheidsfront pla. En dit moet ons miskien buite hierdie gesprek neem. Dan laastens wil ek net vir Raadsit Gou sê. Raadsit Gou, die public participation op alle kameras was omtrent so 4 jaar gelede gedoen, waar almal insette kon lewer. So ek was dan proper. Dankie Speaker vir die vergunning.
Thank you, Councillor Anday, for the statement of someone's name. And that's also the Executive Mayor. I'm fine. Thank you very much. Colleagues, we've exhausted the item and I've allowed for participated input from all parties. I therefore note the Freedom Front is against, Patriotic Alliance is against, the ACP is against, the ANC is against, and the COSA is abstaining. I will put it to a vote now. COSA is abstaining. Are you against or abstaining?
Abstaining.
Abstain. Thank you very much. By show of hands, can I please have an indication? Who is against the item that is in front of us? By show of hands, those who indicate that they are against. We'll do the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We record as such. Thank you very much. Those in favor of the item as per the recommendation and the proposal made by Councillor Van Dijk and Councillor Burguma, by show of hands. Thank you very much. Thank you, councillors. We then conclude with item P79, and it is recorded that we have 9 votes against and 18 in favor there. Thank you, councillors. Much appreciated. We now move to our next item, item P80, the procurement of new generation capacity, Mossel by Municipality, Electricity Regulations Act number 4 of 2006, where our recommendations listed, points 1 to 3. Can I please have a proposal?
Speaker, it's proposed.
Thank you, Councillor Delaman. Do I have a second for Councillor Delaman?
I second, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions or comments from any councillor? I see the lights of Councillor De Bula and Councillor Post, Councillor De Bula, Councillor Post, and Councillor Machusini in that order. You might proceed. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I want to clarify please.
Clarity. What clarity, Councillor? What you asking what this item is about? Well, thank you. We note that that question, Councillor Post.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this item, I'm not against it at all. I know that it's a necessity. I just note that we don't have, I know we need to go out from tender, but that we have an idea of cost. But before we do that, Speaker, I'm quite certain our directors as well as our mayor and our chairperson for technical services are aware of the lawsuit brought by Frankfurt Municipality and the implications thereof. And I'm concerned that we might incur expenses and then end up not being able to make use of privately generated electricity. Could we just get some feedback on that? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor House.
Thank you to Councillor Ghost. That's why we're going through this process as well, and it's open to all and so forth. That's why our legal team, it's actually frustrating. It's taking time. They're scrutinizing everything. There's still unclarity in terms of some legislation. We see the court cases. We must just understand with Frankfurt, they've been coming for a long time, and they've actually taken over the municipal grid. It's a private company running the municipal grid, and they're just paying council a amount, but they're maintaining and running the whole grid and generating. And now they want to use some of the arguments is that they want to wheel through the ESCOM network. There's other arguments as well, and there's arguments from the municipality that they cannot support it because some of the audits was not done or the contract has not been renewed. The contract must be renewed every 3 years and so forth. So, or re-endorsed, whatever, but that wasn't done. So Treasury is now looking at it, and their whole court case, the latest one, failed because our municipality didn't give any support. So they in court, but they said, but your client doesn't support this. So there's other technical arguments, but we are aware. That's why we've used various knowledgeable people. We're looking also, we're having with the Premier and his whole team and his advisors, and through Director Naidu and his advisors. So we've got a lot of specialists and other outside legal representation also looking at this with specialists to ensure that we crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and that's exactly why we now having this council decision as well.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillor Machesini.
Inkosi. Ngokujonga kwami into kodwa andazi ifuna isatshiswa malunga kangoba le nkampani ifuneke shelter sabayenze. Ingabe izabajongela na aba bantu abaphiwa umbane isende mahala? Ingabe izababeka izawuthini into yabo xa ngaba kuthatha le nkampani, ngoba le nkampani lesho inemithetho yayo ezawuyenza.
Thank you very much for your question. Okay, Executive Mayor, you may.
I'll help Director Naidu, he can help me if I'm wrong. But now, colleagues, obviously we're going out on a tender. So we don't know, it's a 2 envelopes. So we don't know what solution at this stage they might come up with. So we first ask to come up with a solution. Then the second process will be tell us what it's going to cost us. Then we will buy that energy at a specific rate from the guy that gets the tender. But in terms of the equitable share and in people indigent and so forth, it's not going to touch them. We're going to just not buy from Eskom anymore. We're now going to buy from another person. But in terms of our community, their rights and all that stuff, the indigent people, everything will stay the same. What we're just trying to get right is to have energy to buy, that there's energy. At this stage, we don't have energy at stages. And then obviously we're trying to get it for a bit cheaper.
Thank you, Executive Mayor, for that clarity. Councillors, can I get an indication? Councillor, to have a follow-up.
I don't have a follow-up, Speaker. If somebody could just perhaps assist me with my translation, I can't get the service, even though I've selected English. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll have Tertia assisting Councillor Host. I do not have an indication that anybody is against this item. The mayor this morning in his address spoke about load shedding and what we are trying to do, and I believe that is speaking to that. So I don't see any lights or any more questions. The item does carry unanimously. Thank you very much. We are then on item E81. Planned closure of Technic public level rail crossing between Fort Bragg River and the Technic at KM 105,355. Can I have a proposal in this regard?
Madam Speaker, I do propose.
Thank you, Councillor Darren May. You have a second for Councillor Darren May.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have a second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Annie. Is there any questions of clarity from anybody on this item? To the light of Councillor House, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I think just financial implications on the item says none, but there should surely be some kind of closure cost. I think it will probably be minimal, but just for correctness of the agenda item, should be a cost. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Naidu, do you have any input?
Thank you, Speaker. There will be no cost for the municipality.
Thank you very much. Councillor House, you covered. I see no other lights, neither any indication of objection. The item does carry unanimously. We are on item E82, the application for the renewal of the lease agreement of 4809 Great Bright River by the following club. Can I please have a proposal in this regard?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to propose the item.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Do I have a second for our Deputy Mayor, please?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaker, I would call the second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Annie. Is there any questions of clarity from any councillor on this item? Councillor Kuntu, you may proceed.
Awesome, Madam Speaker. Kokwam apha Madam Speaker ndiyabona into yokuba noko itship kakhulu 260 per annum ii-hectares ezingaka. But ke kuba into enesport phakathi yinto entle leyo. Ndizawucela ke Madam Speaker ngendlela ethethwa ngaso isport kule ndawo. Kune-areas apho makukhona sport, kune-areas apho kufumanisa into yokuba abantu abafikelela abantu akude ukubhatala iinantsika ii-fees ezithathwayo ngabo. I think le ndlela ithixwa ngayo apha ibe fair nakwabanye abantu abafuna ukusebenzisa ii-facilities zikamasipala. At least isport sibaluleke kakhulu. So at least bayibhatala 21 rand or 20 rand per month. At least abantu abadala bangakwazi sport bangakwazi.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kuntu. I don't hear you objecting, only requesting that other sports codes also be assisted in this manner. That is noted and recorded as such. I see no objection. The item carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We move to item 383. The first implementation review of the Mossel Spatial Development Framework stroke environmental management framework for 2022. We have the recommendations listed for council to approve. Can I please have a proposal in this regard?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you,
Madam Speaker, I would just like to bring the council's attention to this item that was in the agenda of committees. And at that stage, we asked for a workshop regarding this item before we can bring to council. So with that said, Speaker, I would like to refer this item back. And I'm just looking at the our acting director, Mr. Lindy Kiswe, just confirm the date for the specific workshop. I believe that there's been they got the message. I mean the date. So if you can just confirm it to council, please.
Thank you, Executive Deputy Mayor. You're proposing for referral back to have the workshop as per the recommendations. Acting Director, can you please kindly confirm?
Thank you, Speaker. The date has been set to be the 11th of May, and I understand the invitation that has been sent out.
Thank you very much, Acting Director. We then refer item P83 back, and there will be a workshop held. Thank you very much. I'm not going to have any discussions. The item is referred back, and councillors will attend the workshop. So we now move.
I need to second. It's supposed to be second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kuntu. Item P84, the alienation of a portion of remainder of Earth 211 situated on the eastern side of the existing development, Famous Heights Lifestyle Village Aidaran, for social contribution by the Rotary Village Trust. Can I have a proposer in this regard, please?
Madam Speaker, I'd like to first.
We have the ward councillor proposing. Do we have a seconder?
Yes, indeed, Madam Speaker. I would like to second the proposal.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Is there any questions from anybody I see the light of Councillor House. Any other councillor? None. Councillor House, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, while I don't have any objection to the fact that Rotary Village Trust is going to be gifting Benevolent Park with a social contribution, I unfortunately need to abstain on this item because originally the ACDP objected to the manner in which this more than 6 hectares of ground was alienated to the Rotary Village or to the Rotary Trust. So I abstain from the ACDP. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. We then report that the ACDP is abstaining from this item. Councillor Contu, you may proceed.
Le item litimba ayiziko kokuqala and isathi ngeposition sisamile kwa position ngokwemeko yokuthengiswa kwemihlaba ngendlela ethengiswa ngayo. So sisamele into yokuba imihlaba before ayithengiswa siyacela into yokuba makubekho i-land board makubekho indlela strategy esokudila nale mihlaba because sinabantu abaninzi abadinga imihlaba and uzawufumana i-middle class ayingafani ngokwendlela ekuweke ngayo aba-private ngokwemeko yalapha kumasipala. So ndicela into yokuba lena sika item isi-treated njengoba ezinye ii-item esizithethayo ezidibana nokuthengiswa umhlaba.
Thank you very much, Councillor Contu. Your input is noted. And to saying that the ACDP, the ANC obtained their position around the reservation. So I therefore assume that you're against this item. Thank you very much. Is there any other inputs from any?
Speaker, I also abstain because on it.
So there's abstaining, Prudent Forum. For patriotic lines. Abstain. Thank you very much. We record as such. We then move to item E85, and this is where Councillor Furness is excusing himself. Thank you, Councillor Furness. The proposed amendment of property description elimination of a portion of Earth 2001 Mossel Bay situated adjacent to Earth 3283 Mossel Bay, Rudy Barnett Street by MSC in Simon. Can I have a proposal in this regard?
Madam Speaker, I propose this item.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sia. Do we have a second for Councillor Sia?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I'm supporting the proposal.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions of clarity? I see the light of Councillor Contu and Councillor Camper. In that order, you may proceed. Thank you.
The position yethu isamile nakule item. Ngiyakayela ukufumana iclarity kwinto ye-GIS because ndinotshisile into yokuba kule ngxalane ekhoyo nje isithi kukho inasika i-F engu-3283 bekwi-F engu-2573. Ndiyacela ucaciswa nje into yokuba into e-GIS iyenza kanjani, kwenzeka ntoni?
Thank you for your question, Councillor Campo.
Mr. Speaker, before abstain, I just want to ask what's the reason for the councillor to leave? Just for the record.
Thank you very much. Anybody from the Democratic Alliance who wish to confirm why Councillor Furness is there?
Madam Speaker, as the ward councillor, I can say that Councillor Furness has left the chambers because the property did belong to his parents and therefore into estate, which was his property, which he sold off to the current owners. So he just wanted to be clear on that if there might be a conflict of interest. So that's the reason he left the chambers.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Kontu, question, municipal manager.
Speaker, ek kan reg gedai, maar aan jou steek, ek was van mening, die seker item die kom hier met was voorheen. Op die skerm gewys het dat ons hier vergadering weer die pad geklein.
Councillor Kontu, can you be clear on your question? Do you know where this, do you want to know where this property is situated? Because you're asking about the GIS systems. Is that what you're asking? Councillor?
So, okwam apa ndinotisileyo apha kukho kuthiwe apha ngokwe-GIS system ibinantsi ibintlele wrong. So that's why endifuna ukwazi into yoba lo F3283 lo F2573 explain uba qhubeka ntoni. Okunye mhlawumbi mandongenze. Whatever sifumana kwi-GIS singayithemba na. Esinika into yoba this is the piece of land because we refer to GIS.
Councillor Kuntu, thank you. Can I just understand? You also indicated that you maintain your position so that probably against. And then you asked a question of clarity in terms of what is the relationship between the two properties? Is that what you're asking? Acting Director, do you understand what the council is asking? Can you perhaps just assist? Because I can't now allow you for the third time to speak in terms of what is raising. Can we just have the Acting Director to respond, please?
Yes, Speaker, I think I do understand the question.
Thank you.
Although I may not have the answer that you speak there.
Mr. Prince, will you be able to assist? Can you ask, thank you, Mr. Prince?
Thank you. This is only technicality that we bring back to council. There was, when we have to register the herbs, the surveyor determined that it was not herbs 2573, but that it was to see herbs 2001. So if you just bring it back to council to rectify that mistake.
Thank you, we understand. So it's just in terms of the correct number, because it was the wrong time. Thanks, Mr. Prince. Councillor Campbell, you indicated that you are.
Yeah, I abstain, Speaker. Dan kan ik een opvolgvraag voor haar Speaker.
Was het ik dan nog net gezegd?
Ja, maar ik wil graag net iets gevraagd dat ik vergeet het Speaker.
Als dat is weg, denk ik bij conflicten gaan.
Ik wil niet op raad geantwoord het rondom raadse plannen wat uit is. As dit 'n privaat aangeleentheid is, mos nou. Wat soek dit dan by die Speaker? Dan jy moet nodig om uit te gaan nie. Ik wil niet dat ik de bericht krijg, maar jammer, Speaker, dat ik het nou niet zie.
Ek net 'n bietjie misverstaan.
Yes.
In terme van dit nou duidelik is en dit verstaan. Kan ons vir meneer verstaan van die
Okay, meneer. As a head Speaker.
No, it's not a private deal. The piece of land that is sold, it's land, that portion of land. But the portion of municipal land is sold to the sign.
Where is then Mr. Councillor coming in there?
Because it's council.
I think also to assist what councillor could see a try to explain was that this property previously.
Simon property.
Yeah, the Simon property. The Simon property previously was owned by Councillor Furness' parents, and you know both his parents as passed on.
Okay. Yeah.
So because the proposed amendment in terms of the alienation of that portion that which Mr. Prince is referring to is municipal land.
Okay.
So it's a transaction between the Simon and the municipality.
Okay.
And so in case there might be technicalities, Councillor Furness has chosen to excuse himself because the property that was owned by his parents was sold to the Simons. And now there's the transaction between them and the municipality. Okay. But it's actually municipal land. Okay. Thank you very much. You still maintain your position of abstaining?
Yes.
Yes. I see no other lights. Councillor Kuntu, can you please switch off your light? We now move on to the next item. Item E86, the application for landowner consent over Earth 1358 Hartenbos, proposed single point mooring project capital SA. Can I please have a proposal in this regard?
Plus.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baron. You have a second for Councillor Baron.
Yes, Madam Speaker, Councillor Van Dijk.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. There any questions of clarity from any councillor on this particular item? None. The item carries unanimously. We move. Thank you very much. Item E87. Terminated national state of disaster, the electricity crisis. We note that Councillor Furness is entering the chambers. Thank you very much. Can I have a proposal, please? Item E87. Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Do you have a seconder?
If I could be naughty, I would have liked to have referred it back, Madam Speaker, but also can't.
If I can be naughty, what would your reasons be for
We refer it back to national government.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Any questions of clarity or any input? I see the light of Councillor Coast. You may proceed, Councillor Coast.
Thank you, Speaker. Seeing as everybody's being naughty, I'm also going to take a liberty. So I actually would like to just preclude my questions with an apology that I'm asking them now. So I know that normally 3 days is required. I don't think they will be, I'm not requesting specific particulars, just a general understanding of the contract that we'll be going into with the Garden Route District Municipality. One of the things that I noticed was that the agreement.
Ja, sorry. Maar ek is net so afstap soos ons trek al hier by middag. Dat ons is nou by E87, dat is nou die terminated national state of disaster, electricity crisis. Dit is maar vir die raad om kennis te neem of vir 1 of 2. Voorgestel deur raadslid en so sekondeer deur raadslid Leon. Niemand enige kommentaar nie. Baie dankie. Raadslid Gous, ons is nou by Item E uit section 33. By the Municipal Finance Management Act number 56 of 2003, the waste disposal agreement between Garden District Municipality, George, Mossel Bay, Vito, and Knysna local municipality. We have our recommendations on this item listed for council to approve. Can I please ask for a proposal in this regard?
Madam Speaker, I propose.
Thank you very much, Alderman Nicholas Boyson. Do we have a seconder for Alderman Boyson?
Madam Speaker, I will second it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bavuma. Councillor Faust, I'll gladly give you an opportunity now. You may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm not sure.
Still a little bit you better.
Feedback, that's a bit better.
I said you better.
Okay. So just quickly, these 3 questions. The agreement. My apologies, Speaker, I've lost my place now, jumping just now like that.
Ik kan zo lang zoeken. Daar iemand anders wat ik gevraagd heb. Anybody else? No questions, Councillor Buddha. Okay, now to close it in no please.
Speaker, yes, so I understand that from the contract, if I've understood it correctly, that the rehabilitation cost is not part of the operational costs. So that will be in addition to the 282 million that we've got noted here, if I've understood it correctly. And then also the fixed waste disposal cost is determined by the cost of the loan. So that's obviously going to fluctuate if we don't take a fixed rate on the interest. That is obviously then completely at the discretion of the Garden Route District Municipality, or will this municipality have an input on what decision is made, how that loan is taken up? Then point 8.12 states that the proportion to be agreed upon by parties once at the end of the year, they look at the total tonnage that has been accepted by the participating municipalities, that this will be paid and agreed on by the parties. You know, the cost will be divided. And I'm wondering why we cannot, I'm sorry, I don't know why we got the sudden ringing. I don't know why the cost can't be divided proportionally according to usage. I don't like the fact that that's open-ended and we are protected in that respect. And then there was a third issue. Oh yes, it was about the fact that the third party, I can't find it here now, but a third party would be allowed to make use of the regional landfill site upon recommendation of another municipality. And I would like to know how that will then affect our costs.
Thank you very much for your 3 questions, Councillor Faust. Is there any other? No. Director Nell, you may kindly respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We currently have, for instance, service providers that are private, that we have appointed in terms of a tender, and I believe so some of the other municipalities as well. How it works is that a company is registered at the landfill site currently with a registration number. So if PB is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dumps, we know it's a tender that was awarded, for instance, to George Municipality, and it's linked to them, and it rates a bills George Municipality for that, and George Municipality bills in the service provider with the same way in Mossel Bay. We have a few service providers, and they're all registered on the registration number. And is something there. So we will not be billed. If we are billed with a registration number that we do not have record of, then we will take it off. But we do not pay for that, and we will the service provider, especially included in the tender.
Thank you very much, Director Nell. Councillor Faust, we have a follow-up.
Yes, Speaker, I think I never made myself sufficiently clear. I understood that from the item. Thank you, Director Nell. But what I'm asking is these 3 points in the agreement that we're actually going to be signing with Garden Route District Municipality. The one is that at the end of the year, when they take a look at the usage, that we are not contractually binding the Garden Route District Municipality to only charge us the proportion of the amount dumped that we actually dumped. The agreement doesn't state it like that. The agreement says that it will be agreed upon by the representing parties. And I want to know why we cannot lock it in that we only pay the proportion. So if of the total tonnage done, we what we normally dump is 2,507 tons, and that makes up 33% of the participating municipalities' waste. Why can we not, in the contract, stipulate that obviously it will differ slightly, but that we pay the exact proportion, and not just that it will be agreed upon with the parties? That's the first thing. The second thing is the operating costs. The amount that we've been given in this item is subject to the operating cost and the construction cost, which is dependent on the loan and so on. But we now don't know. We have input on whether the loan will be secured on a fixed interest rate or a fluctuating one, because the economists are telling us that the interest rate is going to start coming down. So it's in our best interest, then, in my opinion, to secure the loan on a fluctuating interest rate, but it looks like we won't have any say in the matter, the municipality. And then the third thing is for example, it says that this contract that we're signing with them, the costs that they've given us is for operation construction costs. But additional costs, for example, if the Garden District Municipality gets fined for pollution, unacceptable levels of pollution on item 7.3, for example, that cost to comply is paid by whom? Because if I look at the item, Speaker, it seems to me that the Garden District Municipality is totally dependent on the participating municipalities to cover all their costs. So what I'm asking is, these are then additional costs to what's currently presented in the item. Am I understanding that correctly?
Thank you very much, Councillor Faust, the Municipal Manager.
Chairperson, maybe we must give the perspective that you must remember that Garden District Municipality, they don't collect waste. It's a function of the bees. It's their function to establish a regional waste management site where the bees can deliver services. So obviously, all the costs will be distributed amongst the bees. And maybe, Speaker, I'm going to ask Councillor Gous to give us maybe the clauses in the agreement, because a lot of work was put in this agreement to protect council and against future things that we cannot foresee now. And it is my view that we're only going to pay under not the fixed cost, we're only going to pay for the tonnage that we deliver to the landfill site. We're not going to pay more for it. And I think that's why we ask them to put that in there. We ask them explicitly what happens if one of the bees climb out of the agreement. Are the rest of them going to be held liable? They said no. We're going to pay for what we signed. That's why that's why they stood very, very firm on the 10% administrative cost. Speaker, this is something new. We cannot see into the future. And maybe if Councillor Gous can give us the clauses in here, we can look at it again. Because we had many meetings with them. We had councillors involved here to ensure that we protect council as best as we can. But also bear in mind that Petro, as you can close its gates tomorrow over 6 months, and we something over the street.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. Mr. Clarence, can you?
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I just have perhaps to add to what the Municipal Manager said. I think it's very important the comments made by Councillor Gous as well. If you look at the recommendation 10, 11 and 12, that's very important. What happened was we have this draft agreement distributed, and we haven't received any signed agreements or comments that suffice and that we are 100% happy with. That's why this agreement is accepted for going out on public participation process. And we will really appreciate any comments. And if you have comments and questions, we will seriously. Thank you.
Councillor Fox, you comfortable? Thank you very much. Councillors, is there anybody who wishes to ask any other question of clarification? I see no light. We then have council unanimous on this item, and Councillor Fox will then submit the questions of clarity in order for the administration provide with sufficient responses. Thank you very much. That brings us to item E89, the appointment of acting director, community safety, and Mr. Williamson will now excuse himself. Thank you very much, sir. We have the 3 points as per the recommendations listed. We all know that Mr. Williamson has been acting, so this item is your reference down. Can I please have a proposal in this regard? Madam Chair, thank you very much, Councillor LaRue, who are the second of Councillor LaRue.
I'm speaking of you, and I would also like to thank Mr. Williamson for the excellent work he's been doing while acting. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. I also fully agree. Is there any councillor who has any questions? And I think that's very unanimously. So we please have Mr. Williamson come back to the receive outbound Venus with the name. The staff is after 2 minutes here. Councillors, members of the public, that brings us to the end of our open council meeting. We will now move into comment. And I would like the public to please just excuse themselves from the session. In committee only for council members. Thank you very much.